Being part of the ISV Connect program helps our visibility with Microsoft sellers, which in turn helps us when we're introduced to new partners.
It has accelerated our entrance into new markets, and our product is developing with higher quality and at higher speed.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining another installment of ISV Connect Live. It's an honor and pleasure to welcome the metadata technology team of Rasheed and Roy to the call. And before we get started, a couple of quick ground rules and kind of expectations for how we use this 30 minutes of time. So every Monday, or we try to every Monday at 8 o'clock West Coast time, we try to showcase our BizApps ISV ecosystem. And metadata technologies is no different than many of our other solutions, but what they have to offer in real estate property management is going to be a very interesting conversation. So throughout the event, we'd love to hear where you're watching from. So if you want to put a comment in the LinkedIn chat window to say if you're watching from, let's say, the West Coast, and I'm actually doing this this time around in California. My oldest daughter, who plays competitive basketball, actually has a tournament down here. So for those of you who typically watch these sessions, you're going to notice my background is slightly different because I'm actually doing this from a hotel room. And then we have Rasheed and Roy doing this from the Middle East Africa region and taking this call. And then throughout the conversation as well, if you have a question, we do actually have an opportunity towards the end of the dialogue to get a question in real time. So if you have a question, feel free to also put that in the window, and we may be able to have time to ask that in real time. Lastly, throughout the conversation, if you want to utilize one of the emoji icons throughout the dialogue, it helps Rasheed, Roy, and I understand whether or not the content actually is resonating. So if you want to use like, support, insightful, etc., that gives us an opportunity to really understand afterwards if the content resonated at a certain period of time. So that being said, Rasheed and Roy, welcome to the LinkedIn Live event in this conversation. We truly, truly appreciate the partnership.
Thanks, Brian, for the opportunity.
Yeah, so why don't we get started? Well, maybe do the introductions, and then I'll do a quick shout out to the people who have put some comments in the window. So the first question that we always ask is, Rasheed and Roy, what do you guys do at Metadata Technologies? And then my favorite icebreaking question that I always like to ask to get to know people, and also for people listening to get to know you, is what's one thing not on your LinkedIn profile that you're open to sharing to this broad audience, either watching live or watching, may eventually watch the replay?
Okay. Thanks again, Brian, for giving us this opportunity. We're actually, I've been also following the ISV Connect live sessions and really interesting with some of the partners. And we thought it's it's a great opportunity to introduce ourselves. I'm Rasheed. I'm Managing Director for Metadata Technologies. My work is around strategizing the business plan for metadata in and around 3 different regions we focus on. One is North America. Second is the Middle East, Africa, and third one is Asia Pacific. So with that, what we are offering is really a vertical solution on Microsoft Dynamics CE, which is the old CRM platform. We have customized the CE, they extended it to make it excellent for the real estate and property management industry. So that's a quick brief about our product. Now to talk about one thing that's not on LinkedIn. I'm really fond of traveling, and recently last couple of months I've been traveling to Georgia and Turkey. Georgia, I was near the Russian border, see about 100 kilometers worth of trucks waiting to get into Russia. So I know very close to where the action is, right? And I was great in Turkey as well. So it's nice to see different cultures and watching them. So that's about me.
I love it, Rasheed. I mean, those are 2 countries I've never been to before. And so hopefully one day I'll be able to do that. But yeah, the pandemic unfortunately put a pause to a whole bunch of traveling, including myself. But now that it's loosened up a little bit, being able to get back on the road like yourself, not being away from family too often, but being able to go out and see new places, I love doing that as well. So thanks for sharing. Roy, why don't we go to you? And again, a little background of what do you do at Metadata Technologies, and what's one thing not on your LinkedIn profile you're open to sharing?
Wonderful, Brian. So again, thank you for inviting us. It's wonderful to be here in the ISV Connect live program. I look after business solutions for Metadata and Property-xRM. I've been associated with Property-xRM for over 6 years now, and my role revolves mostly around getting the product in front of our target audience, and at the same time ensuring that our customers have things going their way, making sure that we are delivering the ROI expectation that the customer had when he started engaging us. I also work closely with Microsoft sellers, account managers, and dynamic partners in the region to collaborate on opportunities that arise from any part of the world. In due course, it's been about learning what the real estate industry market is all about. It's been about prospect requirement analysis, positioning the product in the best way, and eventually driving revenue. As Rasheed mentioned, it's also about passing that piece of relevant information back to the solution development team and ensuring that our product is constantly evolving to meet the requirements of the industry. So this is basically my role at Metadata. Something which is not there on LinkedIn that I would like to share, I love teaching. I've taken up an assignment with an NGO for regular teaching. So I do about 2 hours of teaching every weekend. One thing that really surprises me about teaching is how much teaching teaches you as you teach. I think the more you teach an audience, the more you learn from it, and that's what I've really loved about this teaching assignment.
I love it, Roy. Teaching is one of those professions that I truly appreciate people who do that, because it takes a lot of patience. I mean, depending on what you're teaching, and I only say that because my wife's a teacher. She teaches elementary school. And so before we had kids, she had her own classroom. And then when we had our 2 daughters, she's taken a pause on that because she just wants to be with our 2 daughters. But I love the comment of like how you get a lot of reward from it, and you learn a lot because you learn how to be an expert in a topic, but then how do you present that in a way that allows someone to learn? So thank you for sharing. So before we get into the meat of the next question, to kind of start out the show, let me do a quick shout out to the people who put their details of where they're watching from. So Ganesh, thank you. Good evening. Not sure where you're watching from, but thanks for making the time to listen to the show. John, thank you for watching from Cincinnati, Ohio. Sanjeev, thank you for watching. I know it's really late in your day from India, so thanks for making the time. Tim, watching from the Sunshine State, so thanks, Tim, for making the time. And then David, last one, shout out. Thank you for watching from the West Coast, just a little north of me in the Bay Area, because I'm in Southern California. So why don't we get started with the first kind of more detailed dialogue. You mentioned a little bit of this, Rasheed and Roy. But Rasheed, why don't we go to you and have you really describe, like, what are the business outcomes when we think about property, real estate type of scenarios and the solution that you provide with Property-xRM? What are the business outcomes that you really help to solve? Well, Metadata Technologies helps to solve with Microsoft, because this is such an interesting area, because in general, we've all through our lifetime have probably had to deal with some type of property management scenario, because usually right out of the gate, you usually don't buy a house. You usually are renting. You usually go out and you find something. And I really think about all those times where I did rent in my early days in college, etc. You rent an apartment or you rent a house and all these logistics. And I'm sure that your IP, from the experience I've had, is like solves many of those things. So maybe take some time to kind of describe again, what are the business outcomes that you guys help to drive?
Okay, great. That's a good question, Brian. I think, as you said, everyone is somehow associated with the property management. We are all students. You rent an apartment. The tenancy agreements. So all of these things are nothing new to anybody. So everyone think they're an expert in the real estate industry or property management industry. From our point of view, we started 2 decades ago as a CRM company. Extremely focused CRM company. Incidentally, in 2002, our first customer was a big real estate company. So we learned a lot on implementing CRM and also on property management from them. And then we did a lot of projects in other industries like banking, pharmaceuticals, insurance, etc. But I think again we landed up a few large real estate opportunities way back in 2006. One of the companies we had property management, leasing, sales, facilities management. So these are the areas that we covered. Then I think our partnership with Microsoft started in 2008-9. We had our first Microsoft customer in real estate back in 2011. So we've gone through different versions. We had on-prem, with the CRM 2011, 2013, and finally, I think 2014 we came to the first online version, which was one of the first customers in this region for the real estate. And eventually in 2015, a very large real estate company using our product in 5 different countries. So as a joint outcome, I think we've decided to go vertical because Microsoft strongly encouraged. You remember 6-8 years ago, the XRM initiative, which is why we have still the name XRM, slightly an old name, but when Microsoft brought out the XRM concept, we are the first one to grab it, and we had a lot of help from your team. John O'Donnell, I would like to give real thanks in guiding us to on board with the ISV program, and we had a lot of success with that. In terms of optimizing our solution for the app stores and stuff like that. So a lot of thing, but I also want to add that see a lot of solutions in the real estate and property industry are vertical solutions. And some of them are based on an ERP engine, whereas we've taken this solution on top of a CRM platform because with a large sales or customer service team, you need a CRM engine, not an ERP engine. So we built the product on top of Dynamics CRM and now Dynamics 365 CE because we want our customers to focus on customer retention, customer centricity, and all of those good things that are required to win this current marketplace.
Yeah, Rasheed, gosh, well said. And I think you think about now, it probably your product name can probably include something about Power Platform to replace the XRM scenario. But it's amazing because even several years ago, to your point, the underpinning technology has not really changed that much. It's innovative. It's really continued to drive more value to our end customers and to our joint ISVs like yourself. And I love the fact that you focused on the customer experience because you think about customer service, and those are things that will come up through this conversation. Because you think about you rent an apartment, and let's say there's some damage to the wall, or your sink isn't working. Yeah. How do you do that? Well, traditional ERP, a little bit more challenged to go do that type of work versus, to your point, using customer engagement and CRM. So let me go to you, Roy, to again provide any commentary you have on expanding on what Rasheed had just mentioned.
Yeah, Brian. I mean, if I have a chance to talk about Property-xRM, believe me, I can talk the full day. But yes, we have constraints on time. So look, if you look at the real estate industry as such, there are 2 main activities that happen in the real estate. One is when you bring up the asset, which is more of a project management part of it. But the second thing is once an asset has come up, there are primarily 3 things that you do with an asset, right? A real estate asset. Either you sell it, you lease it, or you maintain it. So these are the 3 major revenue generating streams in the real estate industry. So what we've done is, like what Mr. Rasheed was saying, is that we have fine-tuned the Dynamics 365 CE platform to accommodate the sales, leasing, and facility management activities in the real estate industry. So what we call it as an end-to-end operational CRM. So right from a time a lead comes to us, it becoming an opportunity, and we being able to capture the customer preferences, match it to the available inventory, make an offer, generate a sale agreement or a lease agreement, and whatever happens post an agreement is made, whether it is terminations or upgrades, downgrades. The entire thing is managed on Property-xRM. So for a large real estate company, 80% of their activities can be managed on Property-xRM. So that's what we've done. Now, what we've done is the lead and opportunity part of it are Microsoft CRM functionalities. We have also built a inventory structure, an offer, and a contract structure in the CRM, which is customized by us. So for a real estate industry, right from a time a lead comes to us, in the real estate, especially when you're selling a particular unit, the sales cycle is a little long, where you need to, possibly it needs a 3 to 6 months follow-up and a lot of regular follow-ups to be done. So we have that entire lead opportunity process. The core of real estate industry is the inventory. So we are making the inventory available with all the attributes of a real estate. Just to mention a few, if I have somebody from the real estate industry attending this, whether you want to know the square feet space available, the kind of view which is available from your apartment, all that is included, right? So that's what Property-xRM does. So ideally, you need a finance solution only for core finance requirements. Otherwise, 80% of what a real estate industry does, whether you're selling, you're leasing, or you're maintaining your real estate assets, get managed on Property-xRM. So that's what it is in short.
I love it, Roy, and thank you for sharing all that great detail along with Rasheed. And it's great because we did get prompted a question, but before we get to a question that came up, let me do a quick shout out to other people who put comments in the window. So Shaheen, thank you for watching from Qatar, another place that I would love to visit. Never been there before. Baloo, thank you for watching from India. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Aya, or apologies, but watching from Canada, I apologize if I was not mentioning your name correctly. And then another Rohit, thanks for watching from India. But maybe before we get to the question of the experience, Rasheed and Roy, that you guys have had with ISV Connect, this is probably a good dialogue because it prompted a question of where do things stand on the full A to Z, full turnkey solution for multifamily development projects? I'm not sure if that's a question that maybe you can go offline or if that's something you want to answer in real time, but thanks, Tim, for making the time and posing a question. I'm not quite sure if that's a question that either of you want to address now, but if so, maybe we can do that first before we get to the next question.
Okay. If I may, I think for multifamily, for condos and apartments, development, especially we are talking about development, not about property management. We are talking about selling units with different payment plans, with different options, preferences, customer preferences. We've incorporated all of them in our solution. So
great.
Dynamics solution with the Property-xRM will address. In fact, some of our biggest customers are in that space, multifamily, who sell a lot of units. By the way, one of the projects we are likely to sign up in the next few weeks is they have large projects, mostly apartments and multifamily units. We'd be happy to take more details offline, but that's a quick update from our side.
Great. Well, I appreciate you doing that in real time, Rasheed. That's why the beauty of doing this over LinkedIn Live. You never know what types of questions we can ask. So, Tim, I encourage you to, because we're doing this on LinkedIn, send a note out to Rasheed and Roy, and we're going to do a wrap up in about 11 minutes on kind of call to action. But encourage you to connect with Rasheed and or Roy to maybe do additional context to your question. So next question, Rasheed, is why don't you describe a little bit about what's the experience been like? You referenced it a little bit, and thank you for the shout out of John. And it's always good to hear, not just with working with Microsoft, but people on my team. I always feel good that the fact that people get value out of the relationship. So maybe describe a little bit about what's been the relationship been like. I mean, you've been working with Dynamics for a number of years, because you mentioned XRM, and that concept was introduced, 8 to 10 years ago. Maybe describe a little bit about the experience working with Microsoft.
Okay, great, Brian. I think we are a gold partner. We are a co-sell ready partner. I think we took up this, as you said, 8 to 10 years ago, the XRM bandwagon, and Microsoft really encouraged us to become vertical. So it really helped us in our business to become more focused. but the ISV Connect started maybe a bit later. And the good part was I remember the call way back in 2015 from John. John was calling our landline number and incidentally, picked up the phone and then talked to John. He said, "Why don't you start your operations in other countries?" And in fact, I remember even a trip to Chicago to meet. So our experience with ISV Connect was really good, very positive. We were encouraged to participate in Inspire. So a lot of opportunities in terms of working with other Microsoft, sellers across the world. We have done some joint calls. So very pleasant experience. What we have done is we've built a very strong IP in the last 10, 15 years. We have a product that I would proudly say spend probably $5 to $6 million R&D, which will help our future customers to benefit from it. So we've gone to different geographies. Microsoft has helped in joint calls. We have done press conferences with Microsoft. Microsoft in the region gave us also the best vertical solution award in 2014. So quite a lot of support from Microsoft. Our experience is amazing. So thanks to you and your team.
Okay. Rasheed, thank you so much. I think it's great the legacy that you've had working through the journey, because we've evolved. I mean, that's with any company. We're never perfect out of the box, and it's great to hear that you've had some tremendous success. So Roy, we'll go to you. Anything to add to that? Because I know we're getting close on time with 8 minutes left, and I do want to give ample opportunity to talk about some customer stories, but anything to add to what Rasheed had mentioned about just the experience being part of the Microsoft ecosystem?
Yeah, and for me, I think there are two important support that Microsoft has given me, which I'm really happy about. One is the ISV account managers in various regions who help us connecting with Microsoft account managers in that region. So we have conducted webinars, we have conducted individual sessions for them, and it has always been coordinated by the ISV account manager for a region. So that's been one amazing support. Of course, when it comes to large deals and we're going to close the deal, there's always been the Microsoft account manager who's come with us to close the deal. So these two are like, to me, as a front-end solution provider, has been some of the two most important things that Microsoft has done in this journey. So those two for sure, we are very happy with the kind of support Microsoft has given us.
Yeah, no, thank you, Roy. And part of it is for those of you who aren't part of the Microsoft ecosystem, what Roy is referring to is our partner development managers, people who are in our areas working closely with our partners, especially if a partner like Metadata Technologies may be managed. And then, of course, the account executives around the world, the thousands of them that exist in managing our various Microsoft accounts and grading those connections, so that if you're in property, real estate, etc., being able to identify a customer need and the inefficiencies that may exist to then drive value to where we pull in a partner like Metadata Technologies that has the IP that can be delivered. So it's a good segue, Roy, maybe talking about with the 5 minutes, because I do want to have a minute left for wrap up. Maybe you can describe a little bit about what are some customer examples that you've come across that really could help share people like around the world listening to this. What's a good example of a customer story that you had great experience with?
Brian, this is for me the most my favorite part of the discussion. I'd love to share these customer success stories. In our region, the three of our largest customers also happen to be the three of the largest customers for Microsoft in real estate. Right? So that's something that we are really proud about. Now, for one of our largest customers, they were operating in 7 countries, close to 340 CRM users. Right? So the challenge when you have operations in 7 countries, especially in real estate, there's always the scope of cross-selling, right? Salespeople in one country selling real estate assets in another country where they look at it as an investment for rental incomes. So the problem with this particular customer was that just because of the large size and siloed systems that they were using, they did not have a single source of truth, and cross-selling was just impossible. So that was one huge challenge. Now, the second challenge they had is every country and every region followed its own sales process, so there was no standardization across their organization. So these two were the biggest challenges. So when we implemented the solution for them, we took a phased approach. The first phase was to manage lead opportunity up to what we call as making an offer to the customer. We brought in some of the world's standard practices to them, and they implemented this across the 7 countries. When phase 1 went successful, then they implemented phase 2 and phase 3. And today I'm very happy to say that they been our customers from 2015. They've been a very happy customer for the last 7 years. So this is an amazing customer success story that I would love to share. There's another, since you mentioned, we did mention about Qatar, and you know the soccer football World Cup is happening there. There's going to be a lot of focus in Qatar. So one of the largest real estate developers in Qatar, they own an entire island. The entire island is managed by them. So they have every aspect of real estate there, whether you're selling, you're leasing, you're maintaining, community management. They're also partially act like a government organization because they do the land registrations and they provide NOC for construction in that place. So very happy to tell you that Property-xRM was implemented there. All their large 8 departments use Property-xRM. And in this region, we were one of the first ones to implement the contractor licenses for field services in this region. Close to 100 contractors were onboarded, and they're using it very, very successfully. Now, these are large customers. Now, just one more last success story that I would like to share. One of our customers who had a small portion of real estate as part of their product portfolio, they had about 700 units, and we noticed that every time their contract changes from one tenant to other, there was a 15 days delay in the contract. When we went in deep into this issue, we realized that there is something called as a move-in, move-out process where people would leave and some new people would come in. And this 15 days, because it's outside the system and being managed manually, when we sat down and calculated, they were having an annual revenue loss of about $150,000, right? For a real estate company with 700 units, $150,000 was a lot of money to be not to be wasted. So we made sure that the entire move-in, move-out process got automated on Property-xRM, and we were able to show them an amazing ROI on the investment that they did. So some of those success stories which I would like to share.
I love it, Roy. Gosh, those 3 stories you shared, fantastic. And I love the conversation, like, for example, a cross-sell, upsell, second being field service scenarios, and just the complexities of what's needed, and the fact that having a property organization leverage it in preparation for the World Cup. Gosh, what an amazing story to be able to very quickly put that together, because World Cup's coming up pretty soon, and you can't just do that overnight. Like, being able to go do that and plan for it is great. So with the minute we have left, I don't know, Rasheed, if there's any quick comments in here, but why don't we go ahead and get to the point of talking about next steps, and how do people learn more? And I mean, when we think about Tim answering that question, how do people learn more about the scenarios and the solutions that you guys offer?
Brian, look, we are looking forward to working very closely with the Microsoft sellers and account managers, right? So we have regular engagements with them. We conduct regular webinars for them where we introduce our product, and if there are any new developments, we explain that to them. We also give them scenarios like the customer success stories that we have had. We give them scenarios where our product have been very, very effective, and then they take us to their real estate prospects. So this is something that we surely would like to do. Similarly, if there are Dynamics partners who are on this call, I'm sure there must be Dynamics partners. We already have a partnership program in place. We can handhold these people in being able to implement this solution wherever they are. So they would become our partners in the region. where we can help them with the first one or two implementations, and then the rest they can manage on their own. So this is for the partners. For the customers, yes, please do reach out to us. We would surely be able to, we would surely want to hear from you and then be able to understand and explain how Property-xRM can help them. A lot of these details are available on our website, property-xrm.com. So please feel free to visit our website, and that gives you an opportunity to reach out to us. Please do connect to us on LinkedIn. We would love to hear from you.
And thank you so much, Roy. What a great summary. And I put up here, I flashed up Sanjeev on your team, put aka.ms/real estate. So if you want to screenshot this and come to it later, that is actually the listing of the Metadata Technologies IP Property-xRM on AppSource, and it's a great starting point. So anything to close out, Rasheed, before we close out? And I do have, for people watching, we do have about a 1.5 minute video that really goes a little bit deeper to all the goodness that Rasheed and Roy had shared. So when we end our conversation, just stay on for another hour, minute and a half to just watch this amazing video. But Rasheed, any other closing comments that you have?
I think it's been a great pleasure to work with the Microsoft sellers and account managers. We really enjoyed. I do remember some of the great success stories. So please reach out to us through LinkedIn. Go ahead, and we'd be happy to assist you. For the partners, also same thing. We're happy to do that.
Great. And I'll encourage you to do that, Tim. So Tim did ask the question, does an option exist to come directly to you and your firm? Absolutely. And so you don't necessarily have to go through Microsoft all the time. That typically happens because if Tim, if you work for a Microsoft managed account, you most likely have a Microsoft account executive tied to you. However, feel free to connect with Rasheed and Roy directly, because there is an opportunity, again, to have a deeper conversation based upon your specific needs. So with that being said, everyone, thank you so much for making the time to watch another LinkedIn Live event. Just be aware, everybody, I am taking a sabbatical for 2 months. So this is actually my last call before I take a few months off, but I will be back online in October with another set of BizApps ISVs like Metadata Technologies. But Roy, Rasheed, thank you so much for making the time on a Monday to share all the amazing work that Property-xRM does with our joint customers. Truly appreciate the partnership. And for everyone watching, thanks again, and enjoy this video. Thanks again, Roy. Thanks again, Rasheed.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Brian. The pleasure was ours.
Yeah, thanks.
Managing day-to-day inquiries and keeping track of your prospect's journey at every juncture can be challenging. At the same time, being able to handle tenants and property-related operations systematically has never been more important. Property-xRM gives your real estate business the power to do more. With the world-class Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM platform tailored for the industry, enable your teams to accelerate revenue with a complete picture of the business. Cater to residential, commercial, and retail markets with the flexibility to define workflows for your organization's requirements. Make lives easier for both your people and customers. Combine CRM and property management capabilities with an end-to-end operational solution. Get real-time visibility into available units and properties, while handling contracts and managing payments, all on a single platform. Transform sales, leasing, and facility management processes with critical insights on deal closure, smart notifications on contract expirations, and timely resolutions on work orders. The time is now. Join thousands of users across different countries and leverage Property-xRM's ready-to-use solution to scale your business. Request a demo of Property-xRM to get started. Property-xRM, the complete real estate suite.